Welcome to the Built to Last podcast. This is the podcast of the Risen Project. My name is Joshua Delp. This is my lovely wife, Lisa Delp. And we are here to introduce to you both the Built to Last podcast and the Risen Project. And so with that, what is the Risen Project? Stop. You got stuff on your teeth. Perfect.
We will cut that.
Use that outtake. Okay, you got it. Okay, so just a bit about us. Like, we are doing this as authentic. Like, one of our values is authenticity. Just a bit of background about me. So, we both grew up with entrepreneurial parents. We've both been in business, corporate, small business. I was in ministry full-time for the past decade. Had a season of burnout, and we moved back to my hometown of Jacksonville. Lisa, in 2020, when the world was shut down, that was when we went on our first date. But that is also when we both launched our own businesses. She launched, I'll let you tell them about it. I launched Rising Leadership, my leadership and strategic consulting and coaching business, and she launched Metal Marketing, which does what?
Metal Marketing is a digital marketing agency. We work with nonprofits, governments, and small businesses to help you get the word out. Most of the time that is through social media and email, but we also do paid ads, website design, events,
brand management,
graphic design, all things digital marketing,
all the things,
and communication.
And so, Rising Leadership, really, I've been passionate about leadership for even before I felt the call to go into ministry. Even though I got saved January 21st, 2007, and I started leading stuff almost immediately. Even though, so bit of background about me, I had a pretty broken upbringing. I stuttered very badly growing up, and so, like, on paper you probably wouldn't say, oh, this guy's a leader, this guy's gonna help build other leaders, but it is just my mind works that way. I believe that's what the Lord's called me. All of my spiritual giftings are the leadership gifts, and so Rising Leadership was just born out of this passion. I felt like the Lord released. I just saw in life, both through my experience and then working with many different organizations, is people would hit lids in life. And I guess because, like, I had a stutter, I knew what it meant to be held back by something that you couldn't quite break through. And so Rising Leadership was born out of a passion to help people become their best for the glory of God, help leaders and organizations break through those lids that we inevitably all hit, and work with some amazing groups, some amazing companies, from a nuclear weapons agency to a stay-at-home mom. So really, there's all sorts of stuff I do, but what we found was...
Well, I feel like we've got to also talk about blog.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah. So when we got married, about 3 months later, I think, we were blessed with a blog. At the time, it was called the Daily PS, and we took it over.
It was a blog and a podcast.
Right.
The blog was called the Daily Paradigm Shift, and the podcast had been rebranded just because its founder, our friend, is just that one. He's a podcasting expert, but he's also a great business mind. He switched the name to the Good Christian Podcast because people would just search a good Christian podcast, and so he
jumped to the top of the rankings.
Yeah, so that was brilliant.
So we were blessed with that right after we got married. So all three of those things have been in our ecosystem for
all four: ministry,
yes,
Rising Leadership, Metal Marketing, and the blog and podcast, which we ran the blog and podcast. The blog specifically, we grew it from. I mean, it was
It was about
a
20.
lot.
It was about 20,000 people a year were reading the blog when we inherited it, and
We grew
as
it
of last year, it had about 150,000 people.
And at
viewing.
one point, it was almost we were on set to track to reach over 300,000. That was in like 2023, I think,
Yeah.
24. But then we honestly, just with a challenging season, and we had our first baby, we decided that the right call was to move back. We just lost vision for like how all these pieces fit. And I mean, it's been an ongoing conversation for like,
We had 3 separate pieces that we knew they could work together. We just didn't quite understand how.
we didn't have vision for
We
it.
didn't have vision for it. And honestly, for a while there was a bit of a frustration for Joshua. And
I'm the strategy guy. I'm the vision. I'm the leadership. I'm like, this has to be you. You do not get anything done by diverting your energies, right? Like the serial entrepreneur thing, I think, is a bit of a myth. You focus on one thing, and it has to align. And so, at least that's how I see it in my brain.
Yeah.
And so it was like I tried to kill the blog 5 times.
multiple times,
Yeah.
and it kept coming back to us.
And it kept growing. And so, like, okay, the Lord's clearly on this. Yeah, so
So we have these 3 things, and we moved back. So we were living in Albuquerque for the first couple of years of our marriage, and we moved back here to Jacksonville to be closer to family for a bit more of a support system with our son. We kept seeing, Joshua was going to go into this a minute ago, we kept seeing that my marketing stuff, I would be in conversations with the organizations, and I'm finding, okay, your marketing is doing well now, but your internal stuff is going to eventually sabotage the marketing that you're doing, and you're not going to get the results that you want because you're not able to sustain it, or you're not able to hold it up. Your values are shifting, your culture is shifting, like all these things. So I'm like, you need to work with my husband. And then
and I'd be working with a group or an individual, and it's like, hey, they've got a strategic plan. They want to grow this business or this ministry, and they've got a pretty clear vision, or they're okay, we're getting your team performance going, but you have nothing coming in the door. You have no way of getting the word out. You have no way of actually building the business. And so what we found, and I was like, man, they would do great if they would work with my wife. And so we just found like the inside and the outside has to work integrally together. And so over several frustrating conversations, really months, it was months, trying to figure out like, what are we called to do? And I'll share this as well. In ministry, a lot of people, you do ministry and then you've got your life and your marriage. And I remember reading this book, The Emotionally Healthy Leader by Peter Scazzaro. And one of the key principles he talked about leading an emotionally healthy ministry and leadership was lead out of your singleness or your marriage, i.e., ministry, your calling, it wasn't separate. It wasn't a thing you do. It was an overflow of your life. And if your calling was separate or competing with your marriage, well, you see how that has gone. Yeah. And so my heart has always been to live an integrous life. And we're going to get into a bit of our vision and values here in just a minute, but integrity, authenticity, I think are 2 cornerstone, if you can't have 2, but anyways, they're fundamental priorities and values that, like, I mean, we're in our office, there's a baby sleeping upstairs, she might start screaming any minute. You saw my wife wipe the lipstick off of, I mean, it's just, I think in a we have seen what happens when you wear a mask and perform to get a result.
Right.
Like it erodes the soul, it erodes what it means to be human, and so all that to say is, we just, as we became more one, hey, here's a uh, uh, light bulb moment. Like, we're Christians, in case that hasn't come through yet, but and we believe, like, when you get married, you're becoming one. That's the idea, and that doesn't happen overnight. And as we become more one flesh, I believe the Lord's been slowly seeing, revealing how we are to actually live called out of our marriage, not just our individual callings. And that was hard for me. Just as a man, I was a single pastor for 9.5 years. And so to really, like, I think I'm stubborn. And so I think the Lord slowly had to, like, wrestle it out with me, and her, because she was doing her thing. They didn't seem to really align.
Yeah.
But the more we worked together, we saw, oh, there is alignment there. There's natural complement, not just in our marriage and our individual giftings, but actually, like, our calling, our skill sets.
Right.
And so what we landed on was the Risen projects exist to help ministries, nonprofits, and kingdom-minded businesses build what lasts through strengthening the key pillars of discipleship, leadership, and communication. We've played around with those words a bit, and we really feel like those are the words. We were playing around with the word character instead of discipleship, because we were like, are we, if we use discipleship, that may alienate non-believers, and I think we're okay with that. We will work with anybody who wants to grow, has values and ethics, but we feel like this is a calling from God to help the body of Christ flourish. And I played around with strategy and leadership, and really it's leadership, because I believe strategy is an aspect of leadership. And lastly, we're going to just go with marketing. But really, it's more than just marketing. It's about getting the word out. And
whether that be in your organization's announcements, in your emails, in your events that you're doing, or even just internally in your team.
So why those three pillars? One, if you're going to be a kingdom leader, whether in business, nonprofit, even ministry, like, oftentimes those things, your calling, your endeavor, your business, your ministry, it becomes a thing you do devoid of who you are. And I can just speak from a ministry standpoint. Like, it's easy to fall into the trap of ministry is about what you do, and you can
kind of shut off them.
Yeah, you can start to not focus on your own discipleship, your own walk with God. And I'm like, and as I've been back in the business world the past 2 years, it's no different in the business world. You've got Christian business leaders who are doing all this business work, this you're doing your sales, your business development, you're growing the thing. You say that you want it to be a God-honoring endeavor, but really there's areas of your character that still have room to grow. We'll say it like that. Like, we're all being transformed into the image of Christ. And I think sometimes, like, we separate our spiritual life and our endeavors. And it's like, church does not just live on Sunday. Our faith does not just, if that's the only time that you are really engaging and walking out your character, your Christ-centered character, if it doesn't spill into everything you do, you're missing the mark. And we all do it. We all have room to grow. And so discipleship, building the Christ-like character, and not relegating that to just a spiritual practice, but born out in everything we do. That's got to be the first pillar.
Right.
Second is leadership. Not only do you have to be a Christian worth following and to be a great witness in your work, but you've got to actually be able to lead. And this is a passion point of mine because I've seen leadership make and break things. I've been a part of some really amazing organizations. We'll get into those later. And I've seen several pastors just blow things up. It's an all too common thing. And 95% of businesses don't make
Don't
it
make it
5
in the
years.
First 5, yeah.
95% of churches, church plants don't last. And so it's the same thing, right? It's a building a thing. And 99% of churches never break 100 in a
in your congregation.
in the congregation. So why is that, right? I believe, I don't agree with John Maxwell on everything, but what do I know? But he says everything rises and falls. Everything rises and falls on leadership, and I've just seen that to be treated like leadership is the lid on your calling, on your organization,
Right.
on your ministry, your endeavor, whatever your calling is, nonprofit, for-profit ministry. Leadership is make or break, and so obviously you can see I'm pretty passionate about it because. But I've also seen what happens when a leader unlocks the potential within their mission, their team, their organization, and see just the thing just explode and thrive. And so
Right.
that's a passion of mine to see folks lead. And lastly, you've got to get the word out. And in the digital saturated world, it's easy to just think it's okay. We've got to be on social media, but it's not just that.
Right. Most people have come to me in the past for my company's services, just wanting social media, and I find that they don't necessarily have a brand yet,
Or strategy.
or a strategy, or anything like that. And I think those all kind of go into each other. Most people think brand and they think logo. They think colors, they think fonts, they think what your website looks like, but really a brand is your voice. It's your values, it's your mission. It's like all those things that come together that help you identify who the organization is, just at a glance. And when you don't have your leadership in place and you don't have your discipleship continuously refining you and making sure that you're that you're staying on top of your values and your integrous and all of these things, like it shows up in your marketing because your marketing starts to look like chaos. Your communication starts to feel like chaos.
Which is usually an outward expression of what's going on inside
Right.
the organization. And if I could just say, and I think that is where we started to see where we really work
Right.
together. The outside reflects the inside shows what's going on outside as well.
Right.
And so it's like that's what we see is just like a life has to have the inside and the outside working well. A business, a calling, an endeavor, a ministry, everything's got to be kind of firing all cylinders. And
Right.
you can build it out into more than those 3 pillars, and we will break things down in smaller chunks. But really, if you've got those 3 pillars strong, the way you lead and the way that you get the word out,
Right.
you're gonna build something that lasts. And so that's our heart, is that
We want to help you build something that actually lasts, because
we want to see the kingdom come. We want to see His will be done. And I'll say this as well. Being in ministry for 10 years and being on business on both sides of it, is there is a bit of a secular sacred divide.
There is.
And I don't think that's true. Being in business again after being in ministry for a decade, it was hard for me. It took me the Lord had to rewire some of my thinking a bit, but work is worship.
We had these 3 ecosystems that we had inherited. As you heard, we established them into discipleship, leadership, and communication. And so we've kind of got this. I wish I could like draw a picture. If you, but you're listening to a podcast, so like you're not going to see it anyways. But we've got this like, imagine a circle that's just like got arrows, and you're continuously going around and around. The discipleship goes into leadership, goes into getting the word out / communication, which goes back into discipleship. It's this continuous like circle that just like it's never ending. You're always going to be working on something, and it's always going to lead into the next step. So we, starting with discipleship, we have put the blog under the discipleship pillar. And this blog will house, I mean, right now it houses almost 1,600 blogs.
So crazy.
Which is wild to think about. And all these blogs are biblically based. They have great value to add to help disciple you in your own journey. Joshua has started a risen men community specifically for men.
If you're a man looking to become the man that God has called you to be, if you're wanting to grow as a man, as a follower of Jesus, this is a free school community that you can join. There'll be other opportunities for coaching, leadership, and mentoring, but I wanted to, I feel called to invest in men. I mean, how much do you want me to go into Risen Men?
I think that's good.
Yeah, Risen.
If you want to dive in more, you can go to our website.
There you go.
We've got a web page up.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we're eventually hoping to do some real actual studies that you can purchase.
Yes.
That's not right now, but
They're coming.
it's coming.
We've got a ton of content already there that just have to be put together,
Right.
really.
And then this Built to Last podcast. We're hoping that this could be something that will help disciple you, help
Grow leadership, grow your skill set, and getting the word out, growing your endeavor. And lastly, launching Q2. We'll say Q2. I'm gonna put some fire in on it, but we don't have a name. We'll just call it the Risen Project Cohort Online Mastermind. It's going to be just an ongoing weekly coaching call.
It is paid.
Community.
It's
Yes, this one will be paid. And really, it's like you're going to get us investing in you weekly.
In all three pillars.
All three pillars. So you'll just have this constant input in an area to sharpen and grow yourself, grow your leadership, grow your endeavor. And that's where we're most excited, like to really work with people. And well, if you want us to work directly with your organization, that'll be there as well. But like we're excited to build a community around this whole idea of being built to last.
Yeah.
So.
And there will be a webpage up on that. As you said, Q2 though.
We got two small babies at home. It's it's a emotional full contact
right.
sport in the Delp household.
So would you consider that under discipleship?
What?
I was going through the pillars, and then you just like
Jones.
the course.
Sorry. No, it's just the whole thing at once.
Yeah.
Urgent action.
Yeah.
You can see I'm yeah.
So going back to our circle, not to confuse you. So we have the discipleship that leads into the leadership aspect, which is where Joshua does some consulting, coaching,
strategy. If you're looking to grow as a leader, if your team is underperforming, if you need to address some organizational health, you need growing as a leader. I found emotional intelligence, conflict, strategy. Those are actually some of the three pillars. Also, just like most leaders are always giving out and they're not getting anything put in. And so just having someone in your corner that's outside of your organization who can lend a strategic mind, a leadership mind and I will say this, I was in a ministry role. It was a large role, and I was spinning my wheels. I was just like working hard, and then I just wasn't getting the results I wanted. And so I actually reached out and got a coach. But I do interview like half a dozen because most of the coaches out there were one, they're pretty woo woo, and or they're very corporate. And lastly, many of them weren't Christians, so they didn't share my values. They didn't understand my worldview, and they certainly didn't have a true understanding of my faith, and that everything I was doing was for the glory of God. And so I finally found just a incredible man who became a mentor, Dr. Coker, who was a devout, strong man of faith, but also just a brilliant, um, really, I mean, he is extraordinary, but I won't go into all of his gifting. So I got certified in his Life Thrive system, emotional intelligence, but I'm also naturally a strategic builder and encourager. And so oftentimes I find is leaders are doing it alone. They actually need people in their corner, and they're honestly like men, which is why I have the risen men. Men and leaders are some of the most prideful creatures on earth, and they don't want to admit that they need help. And I know because I've been that guy, but luckily, I think because of my broken past, I've never had the illusion that I've got it all together. I'm only where I am because of the grace of God and putting myself in the right environment so I can get the investment, the knowledge, the encouragement, the equipping I need. And so that's my heart. If you're a leader and you're like spinning those wheels, you're kind of hitting a lid, your organization is kind of wonky, you're doing great work, but it's like, man, we are not firing on all cylinders. That's where I can really come in, work with you and your team, work with your church, and catalyze health, change, new growth. That's kind of like no one ever trained me to do it really. It's what I do, man. And so you get me in an environment, we're going to grow, you're going to be strengthened, and we're going to build. And so that's the leadership piece. And I've got definitely a lot of different packages, but all that stuff. But I don't like that word. I've got a lot of tools that we can leverage for your betterment. And then the marketing. Communication. I'm sorry. See, we shifted that word.
So you've got everything from marketing, communication, events, and that marketing gets broken down into many different aspects. You've got digital, you've got physical, you've got all those things. We really specialize in the digital side of things. But I would say, and I said this earlier, brand is one of my passion points, and that would be probably the common denominator behind it all is communication under the Risen Project is to help you get the word out for your brand in an authentic and an effective way. And we do offer done for you marketing. A lot of businesses reach the point where they can't necessarily hire a full team in-house, but they can't do it themselves either. They just don't have that capability. And so that's when we come in and we do it all for you. Eventually we try and help you get to the point where you are doing it yourself, and we'll help you put the systems in place to do so.
What about branding? You're like a well-branded and well-done, thought-through event.
Right. So
where does that land in communication?
That is true. So a lot of people wouldn't think of events as being something that's part of communication, but an event
does communicate about you big time.
Exactly. An event really does communicate about you. I went to an event last year that kind of spurred a lot of this on, honestly, for my aspect of things, I would say, at least. The messaging, the branding, the marketing that was like all leading up to the event was honestly pretty great. It was very loud. It was very showed a certain theme and got me really excited about being there. And then once I was there at the event itself didn't even feel anything like the marketing. And I was like, I feel like I'm at the wrong place. And so part of my background is events. I don't know if we said that earlier. I actually got my degree in hospitality management, and I was a wedding planner, and then went into large corporate events. I even put on concerts. I did the whole shebang.
Likewise, and in ministry, I mean, it's basically event planning. You're always,
right.
There's always a next event. Even Sunday morning worship is planned as an event. I mean, you have a run sheet, it's an event. And
right.
So, and then we would do large events outreach events. Our first
encounter together was running an event.
Running a marriage event. And
as the two single people there.
After church. And then there was this moment where it's like, turn to your spouse and look
no, he didn't even say turn to your spouse. He said turn to the person next to you, because he assumed the person next to them was their spouse.
And look into their eyes and recite your marriage.
No,
or something like that.
Tell them the three things that you love about them.
And like she, little disclosure here, my wife's younger than me, so like she's 14 years younger. So at the time, I was the pastor. She was younger than me, and I just got up and walked out.
We both did. We both like a hot.
Lord, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like from the get-go, we've been helping craft events that serve a mission and a vision.
Right. And they look like you, feel like you, sound like you, they like get the message across in an authentic and effective way, as I keep saying. And
galvanize action.
Yes.
A lot of folks don't realize, like, we were speaking with a ministry, and they're really wanting to relaunch their vision with a different direction. And so a well done event can be a vision cast, it can be a action step, it can raise funds, it can, really build your base. It's so powerful how much you can communicate with an event. And so all that to say, more is going to be coming. We've got to wrap it up because the baby just woke up and she's screaming. And so what do you want to say to wrap it up?
I'd say stay tuned for the flagship offer that's coming.
Yep.
That wraps together all three of the pillars, and gives you a all-encompassing ecosystem.
Way to grow, to build with less.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think lastly, I just want to land with, if you're a follower of Jesus, you're not just saved, you're called. There's a scripture in Timothy that says, you've been saved and called with a holy calling. And this is about, if you feel called to something, if you're growing a thing, if you're building a thing, if you hope to do that one day, even, this is a place where you can come, grow, sharpen, and you're going to get actionable takeaway stuff to build the kingdom of God. Lord willing, we're builders, and we want to help God's people build it to last, and we want to see people thrive and succeed. We don't want to see God's people struggle because of a lack of knowledge, and it can be hard to find a trustworthy solution out there or sources because you're bombarded. And so we hope that this can be a place of integrity that you can trust.
Right.
You're always going to get us. We're not going to be where I've got no ability to wear a mask or I stutter, like I can't lie, like it's just, and so we pray that you would stay, that you'd share, you'd subscribe, do all the things.
We'll have all our links in the show notes so that you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook,
yeah,
whatever your social media platform is of preference.
Yeah.
And we hope that you'll join our community via our newsletter that we send out weekly, and you can find that on our website. Again, it'll be in the show notes.
TheRisenProject.com.
TheRisenProject.com.
And I'll sign off the same way I sign off all my emails. We're always in your corner.
Much love.
Thanks for listening
Thanks
to
for
Built
listening.
to Last. Bye.
Bye.
Wow.
Ah.